Okay, so picture this, right? Like it's Christmas Eve, you know, but instead of, the whole like warm and fuzzy holiday vibe, you've got picket lines and
Whoa.
people chanting outside of a Starbucks.
Huh. A Christmas Eve strike at Starbucks?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, not exactly the kind of Christmas cheer you'd expect,
And
but
very not.
so this is what happened. Unionized Starbucks workers in Boston, Chicago, and Seattle all decided to walk out.
Wow. On Christmas Eve. That's a bold move.
It is. And, they're demanding better wages, safer working conditions, and, just fairer treatment overall.
I see. So they're really serious about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just any, labor dispute. We're talking Christmas Eve. We're talking Starbucks. I mean, the company that basically built its brand on, being like this
Right.
progressive.
Being good guy of corporate America.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in this deep dive, we're going to like really try to understand this whole situation. Right? We'll dig into the reasons behind the strike, what it means for Starbucks, and I think more importantly, what it tells us about how the whole relationship between workers and employers is like changing.
Especially with all the younger generations coming into the workforce now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the things that kind of surprised me was like these workers, they're striking, but Starbucks already offers like pretty decent benefits, right?
Right. Healthcare, stock options, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but it seems like from the workers' perspective, these benefits, they don't really mean much when you're constantly like stressed and understaffed and you can barely make ends meet.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, how much can you really appreciate like tuition reimbursement when you're working crazy hours and, your schedule is all over the place? It's just not sustainable.
Totally. And it kind of makes you question, was Starbucks' whole approach to employee well-being like actually genuine, or was it more about like good PR?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. And, Starbucks has been pretty vocal about, valuing like open communication with their employees. And they've said that unions just add a bunch of unnecessary bureaucracy and stuff.
Okay.
But I mean, if that communication was really working so well, wouldn't we be seeing,
Fewer strikes.
exactly. Would workers be feeling the need to strike on Christmas Eve? I don't think so.
So it seems like there's a pretty big disconnect there somewhere, right?
For sure.
And speaking of unions, the one behind all this is called Starbucks Workers United.
Right. I've heard of them.
They've actually been making some serious waves since they won their first election in Buffalo back in 2021.
Oh, wow. So they've been at it for a while.
Yeah, and they've managed to unionize over 350 stores so far.
That's impressive, especially considering that Starbucks has been pretty against unions.
Oh, yeah, they've been very open about that.
But, this kind of success, I think it speaks to this bigger trend we're seeing all over, right? This resurgence of unionization efforts.
And it seems like it's mostly driven by...
Yeah, a lot of the younger generations, Gen Z and millennials.
Right? They're not just looking for a paycheck. They want a workplace that, like, reflects their values.
Yeah, they care about things like work-life balance.
Yeah, and holding their employers accountable.
Exactly. And they're not afraid to, organize and fight for what they believe in.
And this isn't just a Starbucks thing either. We're seeing it in, like, tech, retail.
All sorts of industries.
So it really feels like a shift is happening, right?
Absolutely. And I think the success of Starbucks Workers United, even in a company that's been so anti-union,
Yeah.
it's a pretty strong sign that this trend is going to keep going.
So let's just like recap for a second. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got this company, Starbucks, known for being progressive, but they're facing a ton of employee dissatisfaction.
And it leads to this
This very public strike on Christmas Eve.
definitely a PR nightmare for them.
For sure. It just shows how much tension there is right now
Yeah.
between like the image that companies project and the reality that their workers are facing.
Yeah, huge disconnect.
So where do we go from here? Like, what will the long-term impact of this be? Not just for Starbucks, but for like the whole labor movement.
Right. Like, could this be a turning point in how companies deal with their employees? How will this generation's values change the future of work? I mean, these are all questions we need to be thinking about because this is a story that's not going away anytime soon.
You got that right.
Yeah,
Lots to think about.
definitely.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, happy holiday.
Happy holidays, everyone.
And we'll see you in the new year.
Yeah, see you then.